Hello, this is an introduction to Synchronous Sessions, a unit that will focus on connection, instruction, virtual support, and online meetings, all within the context of remote instruction. My name is Craig Steenstra. I'm an educational technology consultant at Kent ISD, and I will be guiding you through this content. A couple of things about how this is set up. So looking at our remote learning bootcamp page, our outcomes listed here. And we'll be looking at improving understanding and how to provide virtual support in different ways while respecting privacy and equity, knowing how to better manage online meetings effectively and securely, and different ideas and strategies for being engaging and effective in those. If you haven't yet, please take a moment to think through these different prompts as they will help guide your thinking while you go through these segments. So moving further down the page, we have 4 different segments that are all set up with a video, some key considerations and resources, and then a task. If you click on the link for these key considerations and resources, it'll take you to our corresponding guide doc. And within each one, you'll see these resources and the task as well. So moving on into the first segment, this is just an overview of synchronous sessions. You might recognize this guy who during a Zoom meeting walked out in his tidy whities while his girlfriend or partner was in a meeting and she was mortified and the meeting was definitely disrupted. So that's just one of the things that we want to think about and address while we're considering our options for the coming school year. So in this unit, we'll look at when a live online meeting is best and when other options might be better, what those considerations mean for privacy, equity, and effectiveness. Thinking about social emotional learning, when should we do instruction, if at all? How can we host meetings better with our colleagues and or parents? And hosting office hours for better supporting our online students or those who are not attending with us face to face. And then also looking at the best platform. What should we be using and what are the advantages of different ones? So in thinking about live meetings with students especially, there are certainly advantages. You can see their faces. There's a lot of different ways that you can interact with them and get them to interact with each other. There's higher energy, but you also have a lot of things you don't control, like people coming in the background, students having outbursts, doing things inappropriate, and students not having access to be able to join you. So there are some advantages to asynchronous, which is something that can be accessed anytime, like the Screencastify video. And in this case, students could watch this video whenever it's accessible, pause it, and you could build activities around that recorded session and not have to worry about some of those other problems. On our guide doc, there's this EdWeek article that gives some guidance about when to choose synchronous or asynchronous. So please take some time to read through that and then think about what might be best for different situations in your context. So the big question of equity is a tricky one. Not all of our students have the same access to technology, and even if they do, they may have households with multiple people needing to be online at the same time, all kinds of ways that they can't join for those synchronous sessions that you're hosting live. So as you're designing your learning and thinking about how to make learning accessible to everybody, you can look at this common sense article on tips for equity in remote learning. And there are 7 tips that they provide. I'm going to scroll down just to number 4 here. Their recommendation is to try to keep them asynchronous so that they're more flexible. And their reasoning here, I'll just highlight, is that students can view through pre-recorded presentations, participate in discussions, and complete activities on their own schedules. So I think that's an important consideration as you're thinking about how do I design my learning activities and how much am I going to expect students to participate in these live sessions. So you can read on and see what other suggestions in that article may be helpful for you. So when it comes time to deciding a platform, Zoom and Google Meet are the two most commonly used. Zoom has probably taken on more of the lion's share of people's preferences because of things like breakout rooms and other built-in features, but they also won't be free forever, and you could be finding some limitations as they take away those premium features. It should be noted too that if you're using an LMS like Canvas or Schoology, there's built-in conferencing tools there as well. My suggestion is that whichever platform you have access to or feel that is best for your needs, become familiar with that and be prepared to offer your synchronous sessions through that platform. Going back to our document, um, there's a plans and pricing options for Zoom that shows you the comparison between the free and the paid for version, as well as a Zoom versus Google Meet comparison. As you're thinking about your task for this segment one, please go through those resources in the guide doc and then write a response to this prompt. How might you utilize synchronous online sessions in your work with students, with parents, and or colleagues this year, and what do you need to prepare for? So think about what you anticipate and how can you prepare for that, and write your response on the bootcamp checklist doc. Thanks for listening.